All right, guys, here. I'm Coach Dennis. This is Shut the F Up podcast. Today's guest is Adaire. Welcome, Adaire. Thanks for agreeing to come onto the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
This is a brand new podcast. We're still getting going. You are my first female interview.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I like this.
So, yeah, your first female interview, so that's going to be good. So let's start from the beginning. So tell me about yourself. Tell me where you're from, and I want to know how you got your name, how to pronounce your first and last name, all that stuff. So
you said it right. Adaire's right. I am from Fort Worth, Texas. A lot of people think I'm like from the East Coast, West Coast, but I'm not. I'm a Southern Texas girl, straight from Fort Worth. And my name, Adaire, it actually stems from a man's name. And it's an interesting story. So my parents, they didn't know, if I was a boy or a girl. They wanted to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother just knew deep down. She's like, I know I'm going to have a girl. So they were going to name me Kayla. That was going to be my name. I can't really imagine me being a Kayla now that I'm in this world. But yep, I was going to be a Kayla. And then what happened is my mom went into labor. So they took her to the hospital. And my dad was sitting next to her. And they were waiting on the nurse to come in. And he started reading names out of the baby book. And it was the boy section. And one of the first names, like one of the top names, came up. He was reading through it. And he said, Adaire. He was just going down the list. And she's like, that's the one. That's the name. And he was like, but you think it's a girl. It's a boy's name. So why would you name, And so originally it was Adair.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wanted to make it look more girly by adding an E on the end of it. And she said, these were her words, that whenever he said that name, she could see me walking across the stage being like Miss Universe or something. And that was before she knew I was a girl. That was before I ever came into this world and became a model. So it was interesting that she had, a vision of what that name would look like on a person. And then when I was born, my grandmother, her mother, who was actually racist, very racist, she made an exception for me because she was vain and she liked pretty things, right? So even though I was Black, the fact that I was a cute little baby, she, I guess you cure racism through cuteness or something. I don't know.
It helps.
I guess so.
It helps.
But she held me and she told me, or she spoke into existence that I would never want for anything. So, although, her lifestyle was very different than mine. And of course I didn't agree with her about a lot of things. She did speak that over my life. And I still believe that till this day. I still carry that mentality with me that I won't.
So did she remain racist after?
Yeah, she was racist all the way
through.
Died.
She just was she just loved you and your siblings and your mom and your dad?
She did not love my dad.
Oh, so let's go back to that. So what are you mixed with?
I'm African American and white.
White, okay.
Yeah.
So
black and white.
Yeah, black and white. So my dad is Black and my mom is Mexican. So I know like that dynamic of the racist side and having to grow up and live with family members that are racist. Mm-hmm. It's different.
It's pretty crazy.
And you just have to live. You just have to grow up like that's
it's
just
normal, right? Like you grow up and it's normal and you think
they'll say racist shit or do racist things and
all
you're just
time.
like, that's my grandma. Like, that's my fucking grandma. She don't like Black people, or whatever.
Yeah, all the time. And my parents, they were the first people on both sides of their family to marry outside their race.
Wow.
So it was a big deal. It was not accepted, which I understand because at that time,
especially in Texas,
in the South, and there was a lot of white on black crime. So were you born in
Fort Worth too?
Yes.
Oh yeah, and then white on black crime was
at
huge.
The time. Yeah. Yes. So. Yeah, it was, and I'm 32, if anybody was wondering. So yeah, back in the 80s, 90s, it wasn't like, what are you doing?
It was different back in the day.
That person's going to hurt you, So, but my parents, they're awesome and they're not together now, but they co-parented very well. My dad moved on and got married. My mom, she's still single, but she still runs her business, and they really gave me a good example of moving into the world and not caring what anybody thinks. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I grew up in that, I grew up watching my parents have to deal with, their families not supporting them, people saying terrible things to my mom or making comments to my dad or treating my dad terrible, or just a lot of crazy stuff happened. And I just saw him withstand it all. So, I really took that same mentality with me through my life, and I kind of just didn't care. If I wanted to do anything I wanted to do, I didn't care what anybody would say or think. So, I guess it worked out growing up in that type of,
Yeah, I mean, and I noticed like you didn't care. I don't care. But there are some, there's people that do care about, what people think about them or say. But when you're growing up in racism like that, you just, in order to survive, you just got to not care. You just got to be able to just deal with it and just go, and like, because it's all around you
all the time.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
And so you can't just let it affect you and be upset and be offended at everything and be mad and fucking fighting everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
All the time, especially, as a girl, especially as a woman, even Dana White of the UFC didn't even believe women belonged in fighting. And so you're growing up in racism. You can't just go around just swinging, punching. No. And then now you're a black woman too. You have to learn how to deal with that. And part of learning to deal with it is just not caring, not giving a shit about other people's opinions.
Yeah. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey. My mom did a good job in making sure she understood the way the world was going to treat us. Right. So my mom never was like, oh, don't forget you're white. You know what I mean? She never did that, because she knew the world was not going to treat me like I was white. Right. And she was right. Yeah. I have not met one person that's mistaken me for a white woman. Yeah. And I don't get treated like I'm a white woman. So,
but then on the same token, I'm sure you've had, and I shouldn't say I'm sure, but maybe you had some of the same experience like what I had and what other mixed people have, is you're hated on both sides.
Oh yeah, you don't belong anywhere.
You don't belong anywhere. So your black family hates you because you have what they like to say is good hair, or you're lighter skinned, and they'll talk shit about you as you're growing up. And then on the white side, they don't like you because you're black. So your black family doesn't like you. Your white family doesn't like you. You're caught in the middle. It's a lot to deal with. It's
now,
crazy.
Don't get me wrong. My family now, at least my immediate family that I know of, everybody loves us. Right. But in the beginning, it was a growth.
There's going to be some jealousy. There's going to be some issues. There's going to be whatever. And then you're getting special treatment from your racist grandma who doesn't like any other black people, but she's got a beautiful granddaughter now that she wants to show off in the photos, and you're a model and all this stuff.
Which is still, to me, I'm like, well, it's still about vanity.
It is.
It's not really.
It's not even about you.
About me and having a relationship with me. It's about, oh, look at my bloodline. Look how beautiful, my black grandchild is. Yeah. So people will, they'll put you people will use you as a trophy in every area of their life. I've had it happen to me with friends. I've definitely had it in relationships. Guys, they love to say, oh yeah, this is my woman, right? But they may have an issue with certain sides of me. It's never failed, whoever I'm with. If I'm dating a white guy, at some point they make a racial comment about me being black. If I'm dating a black guy, they make a racial comment about me being white. Like, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? There's always been something for someone to pick out. But when we're in front of people, they're like, oh yeah, she does this and this and that, and she's a model, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and then some people, and then on the black side too, even if they're not being mean to you, a lot of times they'll say stuff like that's passive aggressive, like you might not be black enough or something like that, And so on the white side, you're not white enough, on the black side, you're not black enough. So it's different. But I do like seeing like, I didn't even know what a fucking mulatto was until one of my ex-preachers, who was a white dude, explained it to me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you insulting me right now, bro? Like, you're my pastor, but you're calling me a name that I don't even know what the fuck it is. And then I researched it, looked it up, like, oh, that's what they called black people back in the day, slavery or whatever. It just means mix.
Mixtures,
a mix. And I didn't know that. But then I started researching other mulatto people. Like I didn't even realize that Malcolm X is mulatto or Malcolm Gladwell. Of course, Barack Obama is probably the most famous mulatto person to ever live. I didn't know Jimi Hendrix and, you know, like just Bob Marley and on and on and on and on. I didn't know. And so I'm like, oh, there's successful mulatto people too, you know, and mixed people. And so Halle Berry, there you go. She's gorgeous, right? And so, yeah, it's just empowering to see that and to see and to meet people like yourself who are mixed and keep going. And the world's getting more and more mixed anyway, especially America.
Yeah. So. And you just have to be yourself after a while. It's like, I mean, I understand the struggles of people of color. So I'm very boisterous about that, and I stand for that, and I fight for that. But at the same time, I'm also myself. So I'm like, we can talk about race stuff all day, but I don't live my life based off of being whatever people think I am. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So after a while, I just had to learn just to be myself.
So when did you first get into modeling? Were your parents putting you because I know parents do this with babies and with kids, especially if they have a beautiful kid, they want them to be a model or they put them in acting. And I mean, so how did you get into that world?
Yeah, so my parents actually didn't do any of that with me.
That's
nice. They wanted me to choose, right? They never wanted to put me into something or force me into something. They kind of let all of us, there's 3 of us total, just learn, what we like, what we don't like. I was naturally attracted to art. So I was I was drawing, I was painting, I was playing the piano. Those are the things that my parents put me in because they knew that I liked it. It wasn't until I was, I think, 14 when I said I wanted to actually model. When I was 6 years old, I told all of my classmates that I was going to be a model one day.
Oh, nice.
And which is funny because it ended up happening. And then 14 is when I said, I think I want to try it. So my parents, they didn't know where to start.
Right.
Because they hadn't, my dad tried to do it, but he never really broke into it like that. He was more on the acting side. And we had to learn the hard way, right? So my parents would take me to local fashion shows, maybe some local designers, put me in some shows. And I learned from there. It took me from 14 to 19 years old. 19 years old is when I met a legit agent that changed my life. And that's when I got a real contract. I got signed on my birthday, on my 19th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And then my life, night and day changed.
In what way?
I'm talking about from because you have people that model, right? And act, and then you have a world of all professionalism, where it's almost like people wait in line, to get in that world. They stand in front of judges and, they try to get accepted. They try to get these contracts. They want to go to Hollywood. They, all that stuff.
Right.
And I was lucky because the guy that signed me was a former Hollywood agent. And well, not former, at the time he actually still was, but he lived out here in Texas. So I had no idea that Texas had so many things to offer in regards to modeling or acting. I thought I
still don't. I just
learned that now. Move, right?
From you, yeah.
I thought I was gonna have to move to Atlanta or LA, New York. Those are all these places that they tell us, oh, you got to get out of Texas. No, you don't. No, you do not.
Wow.
Not at all. I was. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Screen Actors Guild.
I've heard of it. SAG. I don't know what it is. But.
So SAG, they have. It's a franchise. It's a legal franchise that protects actors and models and agents and agencies, and it is an umbrella of safety in that world. It's a very legit thing. So people like Denzel Washington and Julia Roberts and I don't know anybody Tom Cruise. All these people are SAG actors. So when I got signed, I was under a SAG agency, And any of the jobs I got were at a tier of SAG jobs, right? So that means that you get paid a certain amount. They have to pay you within a certain time frame. They have to give you a certain percentage. Like nobody can fuck anybody over, right? It's you have to go by.
So
these
they have
laws
regulations and oversight, and things like that,
and
for
yes, and then there's the headquarters,
a governing body.
Here, not well. I think the headquarters is in Vegas. There's a big office out here for SAG, which I didn't know either. And then I also found out that people come to Texas to shoot all the time, shoot movies, shoot commercials, because it's cheaper to shoot here. So you have these big brands and these big producers that will come down to Texas to film, right? And so they need talent. Who do they call? They call the local, you know, the models and the actors to come and be in their films and in the magazines and stuff.
So when you said it changed overnight, I mean, so was that like getting work, or was that just
getting work and the level of professionalism? It was like, and I had to learn on the go. I didn't have anybody teaching me. So I had to learn etiquette really quick. I had to learn, you know, how fast you have to respond to things. Like you don't have time to sit around and wait. You know, they will not wait on you. It's like, hey, you got this gig. Hey, we got this. Are you available? Yes. Okay, I need you to be here at this time. You always got to be ready. Always got to be poised. Always got to be professional. And it was just a big change for me because I didn't know anything about the industry. And my agent at the time, he was very cutthroat. He didn't hold my hand. He doesn't hold anybody's hand, but that's his way of seeing if you can, you know, be in this world or not. Can you deal with the assholes? You know, can you deal with the divas? Can you deal with people being cutthroat and rude and short and, you know, sometimes disrespectful to you? Can you deal with it? So I did it. I learned not to personalize a lot of things, right? And it was cool, man. I got to hang out with some cool people. I got to go to red carpet premieres before I was even 21 years old. I was getting into clubs that I had no business being in, you know, and it was just cool. It was a cool experience. And I was lucky. Well, at least I want to say I was lucky. I wasn't lucky. I strategically was very careful the way I carried myself in the industry. So I never put myself in position to be in a bad situation that would have turned into a Me Too movement. You know, I was very smart about who to be around. If I got invited to certain after parties, I would say no. You know, if I got invited to private parties, I would say no. There's just, you kind of learn, right? Like, okay, even though this person's going to be here, let's not do that. Like one of the, like, I'll give you an example. About 4 years ago, I got invited to Jamie Foxx's party. And this was out in Los Angeles, though. I was in LA at the time. And I've heard about how crazy his parties are. And they're wild. They're one of those parties where you got to put your phone away when you come through the door.
Wow.
And I was like, I thought about going because at the time I was fresh out of a relationship. And I was like, why not? I'm going to go party with Jamie Foxx. And I mean, I don't think he ever even knew that I was coming. It wasn't like he invited me himself. It was just somebody that was going to be there had invited me. And it's one of those invite only things. And I decided not to go. I was like, you know, let me just not do that. Let me not put myself in that position. So you just have to know what to say no and what to say yes to, even if you're going to miss out, you know, on being able to be around somebody with a name, you know, like you learn really quick what's going to make you money and what's not. And I've learned like, okay, I don't care who's who, right? I'm not going around anybody unless it's going to further my career and my name in a positive way, or it's going to make me money.
So did you go? Did you not go?
I didn't go to the party.
Did you hear about it? Was it pretty wild?
I don't think I heard about it after.
Oh, okay.
No,
but you're just saying in general, like certain parties, like going out and stuff, you just got to be careful. And, you know, especially being new to the industry, you know, and you don't want to mess things up before you even get off the ground.
Yeah, you don't, because it's very easy to fall into the stereotype, right? A lot of girls do it because, I mean, who wouldn't? It's sometimes it's hard. Like you have somebody standing in front of you that you've had a crush on your whole life, right? Or that you thought you would never meet, and then they show interest in you. What are you gonna do, right? Most people are like, I'm gonna take my chances. But if you care about your brand, and now it's different if you want to start dating, right? Or maybe there's an understanding, whatever. I don't judge anybody, whatever y'all want to do. I really don't. I've been around so many things. I don't judge, but I just tell people to be careful, and I've always been careful. So I will say that I'm proud of the way I chose to handle my career, because it's gotten me far. There's not one person in the decade that I was a professional model that could call right now anybody, any publication, any organization I work with, and be like, oh, you don't know this about Adaire, but blah, 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 blah. Right. Not one person. So, and I've gained credibility for that, right?
So you started doing modeling. You got your contract on your 19th birthday, and so did you travel a lot because of that? Did you do like any international stuff? Was it mainly?
I did a lot of international stuff, and I didn't really have to travel to do it because, again, I had no idea how much talent was in Texas. So there were so many photographers that there's a lot of people. There's a lot of actors, models, photographers, videographers, stylists, designers that live here, and they just fly out to travel. Texas is like a local spot in our nation. So if you think about it, it takes 3 hours or less to get anywhere. So a lot of people, if they're from here, they'll stay here. Some people move here because it's cheaper, but they work somewhere else. So once you're at that level, it's no big deal to fly out for a couple weeks at a time. Or if you're on a really big project, a couple months at a time, and then just come back home whenever you're done. So I was working with people I didn't even know lived here. I had no idea. And it was crazy. And the tier of professionalism I was working with is how I got into magazines all around the world. And the brands, it was all around the world. Everything was bigger than just the state. I had no idea. I was shocked.
So you did modeling, and then where did you, as you were going to modeling or doing your modeling career, were you still going to school? Were you looking at maybe getting on, using modeling to get you into like acting or to get you into managing other models? I mean, were you just kind of just experiencing the model?
I was experiencing modeling. I was stupid when I started modeling. I was still kind of young and hot-headed, and had a lot of personal things going on in my life. It's almost like I lived a double life. I was like this, petite little innocent looking model over here, and then over in Fort Worth, I was like, I would fight anybody, or I was in situations I shouldn't have been in. So I was almost living like a double life for a while. I stopped going to college because I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get famous, and I just rolled with it, and my life took its own journey. I've had a son since then. I was married to my son's father for, a year and a half. It was short-lived. My journey has unfolded over time. So I didn't really have a plan. I just said, I want to model. And then boom, I became a model. And I didn't have a plan after that. So it just kept going. And eventually my credibility came up. I met more people. I started to teach other models. I had people talk about me being their agent. So I considered doing that. I'm really big in business. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. So I was really, 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 what was really important to me was the way people handled business. And I don't know if you've heard some of the infamous stories in the fashion or entertainment world, but people don't always handle business very well.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't know that world.
It's pretty wild. And it's a lot of power moves, because you got people with a lot of money, and then you got people involved. A lot of illegal things happen. And a lot of people don't know this, but the modeling world is one of the gateway worlds for sex trafficking as well.
I didn't know that either.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes on. lot of money, a lot of powerful people.
So how did you get? I mean, so when you say like sex trafficking, how did you get lucky, or how did you protect yourself to not get trafficked?
Well, I won't say like every situation I was in, there was somebody in the back just waiting.
It's just in the industry.
It's just in the industry.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how many people that are powerful are involved in that world and make money off of it, but you would never know. So there was only one time that I was a target. That was in 2017. And I was just, because of my business smart, I knew something wasn't right. I wasn't getting enough information. And it was pretty well thought out. I will say that. If I was just a little bit more naive, I probably would have fell for it. And they kept trying to get me to get on a plane to go shop for this huge event that was coming on. I already signed an NDA for it, which when you're dealing with celebrities, signing an NDA is that's not abnormal at all, because you're not supposed to say anything. You're not supposed to take any pictures. You don't tell anybody who you're around, what you're doing. So, and they pay you not to do that. And
so for those people that don't know, an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. So you can't talk about what's going on. Basically.
Yeah, basically. So it's hush until, project date is released or commercials released.
So then what happened? I mean,
I was just smart. I was smart, and I didn't move forward. I didn't take the bait of, we're going to pay you this to have you come out to New York and shop for this event. It was and the event was actually a real event, but the person was not even going to the event. So, but they painted themselves in a way as if they were. Scamming. And I mean, this part, you could look them up, and they had a whole like, oh wow, okay, you know, this crazy. So
intricate scams.
Intricate, very intricate. Wow. And this guy, he's actually known. He was famous for conning Mariah Carey out of her estate.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Wow, this guy's like a professional.
He's a professional con artist.
Yeah. God, you got real lucky there.
Yeah. So it just didn't make sense, and I was like, I'm going to wait. And my mom, I remember she was having dreams. She was having dreams that I was being kidnapped, and she would call me. She's like, Adaire, whatever you do, don't get on that plane. Don't get on the plane. And I thought, my mom's being overprotective, but my mom doesn't always do that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to the signs. They're not disclosing enough. This is kind of weird. I'm just going to sit back. You know, if they really, really want me, they will give me the details. They never did. So I didn't do it. And lo and behold, I had an attorney call me about a month later telling me that the gentleman that was trying to get me to do this was being searched for, and some of the girls that were referred to him had gone missing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they were from here.
Christ. So is he in jail now? Or
I don't know where he is.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea. I just know at that time I had it was scary, because I was like, oh my God. So you're telling me other women before me that were referred to him just like I was, they didn't see the signs. So
it's a crazy industry.
It's a crazy industry.
It's a crazy industry. You said like they have financial problems. There's a shit ton of money involved. There's trafficking involved. There's a lot of fucking crazy partying involved. I mean, that's like a rock and roll lifestyle, basically.
But it can also be a beautiful thing. You know, like if you know who you are, you know what you want.
Would you, if you had a daughter, would you bring her up through modeling or not?
I don't know. I don't hear. That's not true.
Because there's good things about it.
I would if her father was a very powerful man who could hurt people. I would. Yeah. If not, then I don't know if I would or not. It's not terrible. It's just there's so many possible holes to fall into. You know, and it's constant. It is constant. When I tell people, people think it's so glamorous. I'm like, no, it's literally almost like navigating the streets, navigating like the hood is easier than navigating this, because in the streets you have codes that you go by, and all right, don't go over here, don't wear this, don't talk to this person. Like it's pretty transparent what you should and shouldn't be doing. In that world, everything is painted. you don't know, you don't know who is going to hurt you or not, right? It's like playing poker all the time, and you don't know who you're talking to, and the person who could do you the most damage is the one that you look up to and will smile and shake your hand and have you sign a contract. And, you know, it's not as black and white as it is, you know, in other areas. So it's crazy. I didn't like it. That's why I stopped. I stopped doing it because I was like, I don't know. Now it's funny because I've been thinking about doing it again, only because I'm such a different woman now than I was when I was 19. Right, I'm 32. I've learned a lot about business.
What are some of the good things about it? I mean, you get to travel, you get to meet new people, you get opportunities. Is the pay good? I mean, yeah, the pay is good.
Oh yeah, the pay is great.
Yeah,
it's great.
So the pay is good. So there are a lot of positives in modeling, and why people still continue to pursue that career. Is you can meet people, you can travel, you get paid well, you get treated well. I guess at some of these events and stuff, I'm sure you get treated.
It's
really
cool.
Well.
It's a cool feeling. You know, it's cool to kind of be treated like you're important, or you know, it's cool to have respect when you walk in the room. Is it
hard work sometimes?
It's hard all the time.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard, but it's not anything. To me, I feel like that world molded me to do anything I want to do.
Okay.
Seriously, because it's like, it's not.
So from there, you go from modeling, then where do you go from that in your life?
So while I was modeling, I had started studying brain and behavioral science about 6 years ago now, I think. Oh, maybe longer than that. Could have been 7 years now. I'm just fascinated with human behavior. I love the mind. If I would have continued to go to college, I probably would have eventually fell into that. So I went back to school. I got, I didn't go through and get a whole degree because that would have took too damn long, but I did go through accredited colleges and, take the tests and take the courses to get certain licensing and certifications for, that category of behavioral science. And what I did is I took that and all my years of experience in the fashion world and entertainment world, and I created a company where I did professional development for creatives. So I started to work behind the camera with all of these teams that nobody knows about. These people don't get the recognition, but they're the whole reason that we have anything we have to look at. But it was also fixing a problem with how unprofessional that world can be. So I taught a lot. I did a lot of seminars. I did a lot of, temporary projects where I would come in and work with a team and, help them get through their project together. And it was just all about how to be a better business person as a creative. So I did that for a couple years. And then I had started interviewing people because I just like hearing people's stories. And again, I like human behavior. So I like all this stuff makes sense to me. When I'm sitting and listening to someone talk, everything makes sense.
So how old were you when you got started doing interviewing people?
I think I was 28. Yeah.
And so you were interviewing models or just anyone?
I started interviewing anybody.
Oh, wow.
Like directors, script writers.
And this was a business that you started on the side as far as just, what was it, podcasting, or what were the interviews for?
No, I was doing a series. I did a series called Behind the Lens. And then I was interviewed a model. I interviewed a supermodel. I interviewed an actor overseas. I interviewed another actor.
So this is a business that you started on the side, and to interview people, and then you still have that company now?
Yeah, I still have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have not integrated it yet with what I want to do. So, funny story. When I started my company, it was just with people in fashion and entertainment. And then slowly it started turning into athletes. So which is also a form of entertainment,
Right.
right? All of the networks that you watch your athletes on are entertainment networks. It's media. So my company started to go into that realm. And then I started to work with a producer who makes content for Netflix. And we wanted to build a series called Mentality of a Fighter. And we wanted to start interviewing different fighters.
So were you watching fights back then, or was this something?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a whole background in mixed martial arts. I started when I was 22. I had my son when I was 21. 22 is when I started training.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So from 22.
Was it for the baby weight or yeah, it was for the baby weight?
It was initially to lose baby weight.
Wow. And that's so cool.
I had no idea that I was going to like it. I didn't know I was going to be good at it at all. My brother invited me to go, and he's like, my brother was a wrestler. So his buddy was going to a gym out in Haslett, and he's like, come on, you got to go. You got to try it out. I was like, all right, I'll go with you.
Do you remember the name of the gym? I
just want to kickbox. Yeah, it was Core Fight Academy.
Core with Bloss.
With Bloss, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bloss was my first coach.
That's awesome.
And then George Perez was my first jiu-jitsu coach.
What? And I know George with the was it Zombie Crew? Yes. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so Core, that was actually I trained there for a little bit when they first opened. So Bloss and I were friends. What year was that? It was
2013.
2013. Yeah, I think I was already gone by then. I think when I was training with Core, I want to say it might have been like 2010.
Oh, yeah, just a couple years before. That's crazy. I didn't know you trained there.
Yeah, 2010 when he first opened. Yeah, I was there for like maybe 6 to 9 months. And then I went over from there, went over to, I think, Peak Performance. And then I went over to Ironside. And then I've been at Ironside ever since until they recently sold.
I remember Ironside.
Yeah, with Cena. But yeah, Bloss is a good guy. So you started with Bloss, who's a Muay Thai coach. So you're learning boxing, kickboxing to get rid of the baby weight. And then what do you think, how did you find out about Core? What made you want to join that gym?
It was my brother. He invited me to go.
Was he already working out there?
I think he'd been going a couple times.
He went a few times and
he
go
was
to this
like, hey, just come. I think you would like it. You know, you can just. He just wanted me to go with him.
So your first day, was it a kickboxing class, a Muay Thai class?
My first day was Muay Thai class, but it was also a competition class was right after. But I didn't go for the competition class. I just wanted to go for the kickboxing. My brother wanted to stay for the competition class.
Was it a jiu-jitsu competition class? Okay.
So I stayed, letting my brother work out because I rode with him. And he was like, just get down here, trying to get me off the bench. I said, hell no, I'm not getting down there with all those men.
Yeah, rolling on the ground.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, getting all these crazy weird positions.
Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I was like, no, I don't want to. He's like, just try it. You'll try it with me. I tried it, and it just came natural.
Wow.
I didn't know. I would have never known because I never did any type of grappling sport before. So, and it doesn't look appealing.
Right.
You know, like
when you're watching, I mean, I was thinking that my first day of jiu-jitsu, I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. I thought we were going to be learning like some type of karate and karate chops and kicking and shit like that. I didn't know it was just basically wrestling. Yeah. And with wrestling, at least when your backs hit when your opponent's back hits the ground, the match is over. You know, so if it's Greco-Roman wrestling, if you throw somebody, the match is over. If it's more freestyle, folk style, if they pin you, the match is over. But with jiu-jitsu, it doesn't stop. So you get entangled in all these weird positions. So I'm watching this and I'm like, this is kind of...
You can win from your back?
You can win from your back. But also, too, it's kind of like... I've heard people mention this. It almost looks kind of like sexual in a way. You know? You know what I mean?
Well, you're very close.
You're very close. And so, like, I've had
in very uncomfortable positions.
Very vulnerable and uncomfortable positions. And so when I first saw it, I was like, this looks kind of like almost gay or something, like they're having like a gay sex or, you know, because it's mostly men, right?
Right.
And so when
oh my God.
Yeah, so that was my first thing. And then so whenever I sparred, because I sparred my first day, and every single person just beat the shit out of me, from the teenagers to the women to the men, like everybody just beat the shit out of me. And I had a boxing background. And so I thought I was going to be pretty tough. And I saw everybody and I'm like, okay, they look dorky,
right.
you know, not too, you know, there's not a lot of tattooed people. They look very like plain and like they look like accountants or engineers or something. And I'm thinking like, oh, you know, I grew up very poor. I came up very rough. I came up boxing. I beat the shit out of these people, and every single one of them beat the shit out of me.
Yeah,
and that's when I was sold on it because
then you're like, what is this sorcery?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I just needed to know the sorcery because I'm like, okay, I can't have an entire population of what I considered nerds out here just whooping the shit out of me, just beating the shit out of me, like at will, easily. They were folding me up, tapping me out pretty easy. Yeah. And that's what people don't realize. Like, if you don't train and you don't know, you just don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how angry you are. They're going to tap you out. Yeah. It has nothing to do with mental toughness or physical toughness or size. It has to do with just, they know the techniques, they know the moves, and you don't. It doesn't matter how big or strong somebody is. If they don't know how to play chess, they just don't know how to play chess. Yeah. You know, and they're going to get their ass beat. They can be angry. They sit at the chessboard. They can be angry and full of steroids. They're still going to lose that chess match to that nerd. Does that make sense? And it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And the more angry you get and the harder you fight, the faster you get tapped out, the faster you get submitted. Yeah. And people don't realize it's almost like being in quicksand, or they're using your own clothes against you to like throw you, and you feel like you're in a straitjacket. Yeah. And so I guess when you did Muay Thai that first day, did you fall in love with Muay Thai and then fall in love with jiu-jitsu, or did you just fall in love with one of them? Or I already knew I was gonna like Muay Thai, so I wasn't even questionable about that one. You just knew that you would have fun, like punching and kicking. Oh yeah, that was elbowing things. Easy work. I knew I was gonna love it, but jiu-jitsu I didn't, and that's the one that I fell in love with. So when I realized your first day. Yeah. Did you? Wow. Yeah, see, I didn't fall in love with jiu-jitsu until about 3 years in. I fucking hated jiu-jitsu, but I made myself do it because I was so terrible at it. I'm like, I can't be this terrible. Because, you know, jiu-jitsu. That's a long time to do something and hate it. Oh, well, because I wanted to be, because I was like, you know, like as a father, and I was getting in fights all the time growing up, you know, due to racism and stuff like that. And then I started boxing. So I was like, jiu-jitsu is a form of fighting. Mm-hmm. How can I be so terrible at it? Mm-hmm. That's what I didn't understand. I've been in so many street fights, but yet in jiu-jitsu, I'm so terrible. It was bad. You know, so because you want to push away, you want to with striking, you want to get space so you can throw and hit somebody at the end of your punch or at the end of your kick. You don't want to be punching like this, you know, when they're too close. You don't have any room or space. If you're like throwing a baseball, you can't throw a baseball like, just toss it. It's not going to go you got to chunk that motherfucker. And it's the same thing with striking and kicking. You see fighters all the time. They're trying to push off of each other and make space. And so I'm pushing these guys to make space, and they're arm barring me, choking me, leg locking me. And I'm just like, God, it's just, I'm just tapping. Just rip off all my legs. Yes. Those 3 years I became very, very good. I was convinced I was the best tapper in the planet. Like nobody could out tap me with my feet, with my voice, with my hands. I'm like, ta, 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 ta. And I hated it. And I was just like, and then my wife at the time was asking, she's like, you hate this sport so much, but you keep doing it. And I'm like, because I fucking want to fucking learn it. Do you think you want to try something else? Yes. And I was like, no, I want to learn this and get good at it. And it took me about 3 years before I was like, not only am I getting better and I'm learning, but I'm starting to like it, and I love it. And I still love it. You know, it's a passion. It's therapeutic. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu is very therapeutic. It is. It's a self-challenging sport. So I think I fell in love with it because I was deceived by it. I thought it was something else. Mm-hmm. Even when I was watching it, I was like, this, like I said, this doesn't look appealing at all. Mm-hmm. You know, what do I need to do this for? And then when I actually touched the mats and I had a guy I was going against, of course, because there wasn't a girl in there. And I'm not doing things right the first time, but that's when I learned how strong I was. That's one of the things about me that a lot of people don't know and a lot of people couldn't guess is my strength. Like I'm very strong for my size and even for a woman. And every single person has told me that. And I didn't know. Like I had no idea. So I'm sitting there and I'm going against a wrestler
And, you know, he literally stopped in the middle and he looked at Boss. He took his mouthpiece out and he said, she's strong as fuck. And then they started helping me through the technique. And I was like, what? Like, I was just moving with it, listening to them. And I started learning how to control my strength. I picked up the moves quick. And like I said, I didn't know. So I fell in love with something I didn't even know I was good at.
Right.
And I was like, I feel like all women should try this. Like, all women need to do this. This is so cool. I had no idea I could be this size and defend myself against a guy who's twice my size.
Right.
Right. That's what really like got me. I was like,
it's empowering. Badass. It's super empowering. You feel like you're learning like a secret, a code, right? Or a secret fighting style. Like you're like a Jedi or something, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like a real fucking Jedi.
It's nice. It's nice to know how to do it. I mean, you can't, it's weird because, you know, people that don't train, they'll be like, oh, you can probably kick people's asses. I'm like, not really. I mean, I'm good against your average person, but it's not like I'm going around here John Wicking everybody. You know what I mean? I'm not, that's not what it is. I just know what I do know how to do is get away. Now, training has helped me learn how to get out of situations, get away from situations, create enough distance to where you can bounce. It's not about gathering up all these moves and strengths so you can go and challenge somebody. It's how to keep yourself safe in the middle of a situation where you could possibly lose your life.
So do you still practice at all?
I do. Yeah. I do now. I started training again. There was a while I took off. But yeah, I've been on and off training since then to now.
Are you still doing like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and boxing?
Jiu-jitsu more. I started doing striking again a little bit last year. But it's been mainly ground
fighting, jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I mean, it's super empowering, and what I fell in love with it eventually, and what I liked about it is that you can be smaller, weaker, slower, and still win. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu. Because with most sports, me being I'm a little guy. For a man, I'm a very small man. And so for guys that are smaller and weaker growing up, trying football, trying basketball, you know, you're not tall enough. Your football, you're not heavy enough. You're not big enough. And then to find a sport, whether it's boxing or jiu-jitsu, and you're able to use technique, you can still win against big people, against guys that outweigh you by 200 pounds, you know, that are 7 feet tall. And you can beat them easily. You know, and so that's what I felt, you know, like I fell in love with that, you know, like eventually I was like, wow, I like this. And I like the fact that I can beat people. Cause my first day, you know, I was overweight like you, trying to lose the baby weight. You know, we had, I think when I first started jiu-jitsu, I think I had all three of my kids, I believe.
You had dad bod?
I had the dad bod, man. I had gained from the time I was married. First got married to after we had the three kids, I had the dad bod and it was all in my stomach. And I was probably like 65 pounds heavier than I am now.
What?
And it was, 65 pounds in my gut and my face. I had a big fat head and a big fat belly.
Dang.
And so my doctor was saying, you know, for health reasons, I need to exercise. And I'm like, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to lift weights. He's like, well, do some type of martial arts. I'm like karate? He's like, yeah, like karate. He's like, karate, there's no running. There's no lifting weights. So I did it, and I was trying to use my weight on people. And my first day, there was really not a class. They kind of just wanted to roll, spar. That's it. So they're like, oh, we're rolling now. And, you know, and then one of the coaches, Albert Hughes from at the time I was at Travis Leaders, but he was coaching at Genesis. And he's like, there's no punching, kicking, biting, scratching, you know, just wrestling, you know. And he's explaining and then submissions. He's explaining, because I didn't understand the concept. I'm like, how do you fight if you can't punch or kick anyone?
You mean I can't eye gouge?
Yeah, I didn't understand. I didn't understand. And so when we started, like one of the first people I rolled with, it was a teenager, and he might have been maybe 120 pounds, and I outweighed him by probably 100 pounds, and he just rolled me up into a little ball and just tapped me out. Yeah. And then I was like, wait, what the fuck? And so I went again, and I went harder with him, and then again he kept tapping me. And then everybody, next, grab a new partner. And then I went against some woman and she was tapping me. And then I was just like, as a grown ass man, as a father, as somebody who's been in a lot of street fights and has a fighting background, to be just getting tapped out by teenagers and small women, you know, it was like, whoa, I have to. That's why, even though I hated it, because I hated how close everybody was together. Like, guys were sweating in my face.
Yeah, that's a little,
you know, somebody's like, their butt is in my face. They're sitting in my head. You know, my face is someone's armpit. You know, so you get in all these vulnerable positions. The thing about it is, people don't understand who don't train. And this, you know, this came up in my marriage. This came up in conversations with friends, and it still comes up sometimes because people who don't train, they don't understand. You're not thinking of anything being sexual. You're thinking of surviving. You're in a fight. You're fighting.
You got somebody trying to either choke you,
or break your limbs,
yeah, or just severely hurt you. And the intent is to hurt you,
right? Like,
the person is trying to hurt you. You're not thinking about.
You're not thinking about stupid shit, and that's what.
Yeah, I mean, you might at first. You might be like, "Oh, that person's hot. Oh, oh yeah. Oh shit, we're about to roll." Yeah. Then once
you slap hands, boom, it's on. It's you're fucking fighting now. It's a fight. It's like,
fuck being cute. I'm about to kick your ass.
Yes, it's a fight, and that's the thing is like, if you watch animals in nature, you know, they're basically naked all the time. They don't wear clothing, right? And they have sex, they do whatever. But when it's time to fight, they're fighting. They're not thinking like, oh, this is a sexual position or this or that. They're just trying to win and trying to survive.
Yeah, because like you said, if they don't train, they don't understand how uncomfortable it is. Mm-hmm. And you don't know unless you've like been in it, right? Like, you don't know the little weird positions people put in their elbows and their knees and
knee on belly
and all this stuff that hurts like a bitch. It hurts. And you're over here like, oh, you're just watching, thinking they're just sitting in a position. No, somebody in that position is hurting right now.
Yeah, like, I mean, I tried to explain that to other, you know, gym members. They'll come up to me like, Coach, how do you deal with this with a spouse who doesn't train and doesn't get it? You know, because it comes up, and it's like my ex, she's like, you know, she didn't like me sparring with girls or training with women. And it's like, well, those are the ones that are a lot of times that are most vulnerable, who need the self-defense, who need the training.
It's great training with men.
You know,
it is. As a woman, it's great training with men because you have a fear. Like me, I had an abusive relationship before. And when I started training, I had no idea how traumatized I was from that situation. I had not been in a close space again with a man who was physically stronger than me since that relationship. So that had brought up all kinds of emotions, insecurities, and fears and memories of me not feeling safe and me not being able to protect myself. And I had to overcome that, and I couldn't do it unless I had males as my training partner, right? So even the men that were stronger than me and could potentially hurt me, they helped me. They help me grow.
They have your back
through that. Yeah.
It's like a family, you know, and they have your back and they care for you, and they got your back 110% for real, you know? So, you know that these guys love you and you're their sister and they're going to protect you, and you creating those bonds. Because with jiu-jitsu, I don't care. I can put a 7-year-old kid to armbar me. If I don't tap, that kid can literally break my arm. It doesn't take much pressure because it's all physics.
Did you see that video of that girl that put her dad to sleep?
I posted one video of somebody getting choked out. I'm sure there's a bunch of them out there, but yeah, I mean, I've trained, even when I was training with my daughter, she would get me in positions, and I have to tap out. And that's the thing, is jiu-jitsu is like the ultimate trust fall. So you create these bonds because if you have me in a choke or an armbar, I trust that if I do this to Adaire, she's not going to choke me out. She's not going to break my arm. She's not going to hurt me anymore. I have to have that. And then you have to give me that same trust that if I'm choking you and you tap, I'm not going to put you to sleep. I'm not going to choke you out. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to break your arm or your leg. Like, as soon as you say tap, where you tap out with your hands or your feet or whatever, I'm just going to let go. Yeah. You know, and so how many people have those type of bonds where you have so much trust, and we're just blindly trusting strangers that are basically wearing pajamas, right? That's to the untrained people. That's what I thought they were. I thought they were
the
pajamas. The geese. I didn't know what they were. I literally thought they were pajamas.
Some heavy ass pajamas.
Yeah, because you see them, you don't know how much they weigh. You don't know what they're made out of. They're basically indestructible. Almost.
Yeah, they're strong. Yeah,
they're super strong. I'm pretty sure you could some of these gis and kimonos, you can tow a car with them. You can tow another car. I mean, there's fucking and then I learned later, oh, we wear this because it simulates clothing. The gi, the jacket is a jacket. The pants are pants. The belt is a belt. Just like in but we don't have to rip our everyday clothing. We can train in it. We can wash it. We can reuse it.
Yeah.
Buy it once, and it'll last a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're able to get your strength back, your empowerment, and lose the baby weight. I lost 65 pounds. It works. And the best part, there's no running, there's no lifting weights, and you can go hard. Both people can go hard and just tap, and nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
You know, if you tap early and tap often, you shouldn't be getting injured. I mean, accidents happen. It is a sport. Every sport, people get injured. But that's what I like about it is you can go hard. Unlike boxing, unlike Muay Thai, you can't go 100% in Muay Thai sparring. No. You're going to hurt each other. You're going to break some faces. You're going to break some noses. You can't throw a full-on 100% elbow.
Yeah, people throwing elbows when they're sparring and shit.
Knees to the face. You can't do it. But jiu-jitsu, you can go 100%. We can go and then tap, and that's it. So you're learning to build trust, and you're learning to be trusted. Mm-hmm. So it creates these bonds that people just don't understand.
Yeah, without any words.
Yeah.
Without any words.
You're sweating together.
It's pretty cool. I always said that it taught me how to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right. And so even when you're in a position and you start getting frustrated and you will get emotions will come up. And it's like you realize that your emotions aren't directions, right? They're just there, and you just let it pass. You let it pass in that moment. So you really learn how to control the waves of emotions that you go through in life. Yeah. And just being honest with yourself. I don't know everything. Yes. I don't know what I'm doing. And all you have to don't have the answers.
And all you have to do, if you want it to stop, you want it to end, you just do like this. You just do this and it stops. But then you're like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to tap. I'm not going to tap, because sometimes you don't want to tap because you're not getting submitted and nothing's about to break. You're just uncomfortable. And you're like, am I uncomfortable because something's about to break, or because I'm going to get injured, or I'm uncomfortable because I just don't like being in this position. Right. And then you're like, okay, I'm not going to be injured. Nothing's going to break. Nothing's going to tear.
I'm not really in danger.
Let me just relax. And then you learn to be calm, stuck underneath that 350-pound, sweaty, stinky dude with his fucking smashing your face in. And you're just like, this is the rest of my life now. This is how I live. Yeah. You know, and you just learn how to do it. And then the bell ends, the round ends, and you're like, get some water. Next partner. Yeah. And you just go, man. And it makes you so strong. It makes your skin tough. Your mind tough. Yeah, definitely. Your emotions tough. I mean,
it shows you how tough you are. It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. There's some
people that come in and they're like, hell yeah, I'm going to do this. And they can't even stay for a week.
Especially the bigger, the stronger the men are, they're not going to stay. Yeah. You know, because they're not used to doing a sport that's physical and not being good at it from the beginning. Usually they're like, oh, I just have to lift this. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I just have to push through this or do that. But when they get into jiu-jitsu, you know, I've trained with NFL players, NBA players, whoever over the years, you know, some of the biggest, strongest guys that were strongmen athletes. And yeah, they're going to pick you up. Yeah, they're going to move you, but then they do this. The fight's still going. So they're like, moving you around, and they're like,
trying to ragdoll you.
And then all of a sudden they're out of breath, 20, 30 seconds, maybe a minute in. Next thing you know, they're tapping out, you know, and it's like, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're just out of gas, you know? And so people don't realize these one-on-one sparring sessions, we're going for like 5 minutes at a time or sometimes more. We're like a play in football with these giant men. It might be 8 seconds, and then they're getting substitutes, and then they're getting timeouts and things like that, where with fighting, it's nonstop. It's just all cardio. Yeah. And, you know, and those other sports are tough. You know, football is a tough sport. The thing that makes, I think, those sports tough, like football or basketball, these guys are giants, and like for football, they're wearing actual armor. So when they run into you, I mean, it's like getting hit by a fucking car, and you're getting blindsided.
Those are terrible. And I've had people tell me when they used to play football, and even now when they watch some tackles, it's like they have flashbacks. They're like
Right.
that type of impact is not an impact I ever want to feel again. It's like a whole body.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it hurts like a whole nother level of hurting. So yeah, I couldn't do any of those other sports.
See, but I'll
leave it to them.
But we could do like, you know, you can do Muay Thai, you can do Jiu-Jitsu, you can do MMA, and you're okay. You know what I mean? You're still beautiful. You don't have hip replacements and elbow replacements, and your face wasn't smashed in, and you weren't blindsided and tackled from the back by some 350-pound dude that can run.
I've had a couple injuries,
fast,
but they're in places that can't be seen. So
did you just not tap quick enough, or?
No, it wasn't even through not tapping. It was just training over time and accidents happening. Nothing like, I never broke my nose, which I was surprised about. I was really surprised I never got my nose broken, and I was surprised that I never broke like my wrist.
See, guys,
small wrists.
You can have models train jiu-jitsu, and it's okay. You can still go to work being a model, because some people don't want to train because of that. They're like, I didn't
tell people when I was training. I wouldn't tell people in the industry that I was training because it was liability.
Right.
If they knew, like, okay, so she goes and, you know, fights for fun, like, we're not going to hire her because what if she comes in with a bruise or a mark, you know, and now we can't use her for the shoot. So I really did. I kept it a secret for a long time. That's why people didn't know that I even trained like that. So it's like I was an undercover badass.
So how long did it take you? Were you pretty much in shape still even after your son, or did you have a lot of weight to lose?
It took me a while. It took me about a year.
And how much were you trying to lose?
Oh man, I can't even remember. He was a big baby. So he was almost 10 pounds.
Wow.
When he was born. And yeah, I was tiny. I looked like a babysitter when my son came out. He was such a big kid.
Wow.
And I was like, man, I gotta lose all this weight. And he really messed up my stomach. I still have very deep scarring to this day, which I'm fine with now. I wear it proudly, so I don't care what anybody thinks. But at the time, it was a big deal because it affected my modeling. People told me my career was over. You know, I wasn't going to work anymore. And I had a big mic drop because the same year I started training, 2013, was the same year that I was in Vogue. So I had my son. They said my career was over, and then I got in Vogue after that.
Nice.
Right? So it was like, and I wasn't even showing my stomach.
Yeah.
I was wearing a dress.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? I don't even fucking need my stomach for this shoot. What are y'all talking about? Y'all are haters. But yeah, I was like 180 when I had my son.
Wow.
And I got down to 125.
Wow.
Yeah. And just all cardio. I didn't have to lift a single weight. So, I mean, I guess I was lifting weight. Like,
moving people around. Shoving people.
But I did, and it dropped fast. Like, once I started training, it dropped fast. But I was also eating well. So I was taking care of myself. I didn't have a lot of stresses in life. At the time, my ex-husband, he wasn't a terrible guy. We just weren't compatible. So it's not like he was putting me through all this stuff where I had to stress. So I had a lot of time to get my body back on track. And it was nice. I got to focus on myself. I fell in love with the sport. I had no idea Texas had so many professional athletes here. I mean, I knew there were professional athletes from like the football team,
right, Cowboys, Rangers.
But as far as fighters, Mavericks, professional fighters that I used to watch, I didn't know some of them trained here.
So were you always a fight fan? Yeah. Growing up, you just always.
Yeah. Wow. Always. I always loved it.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
Wow.
Well, my dad, he used to be in karate.
Okay.
But I didn't know that. My dad never told me that. My dad kept a lot of stuff to himself.
Yeah.
He didn't tell us anything. What happens is we would get interested in something and he'd be like, oh, I used to do that when I was younger. We're like, what? You didn't ever told us.
Speak to us.
Yeah, tell us where we come from.
That's why you're so good at interviewing people, because now you're like, your dad wouldn't tell you anything, so now you're like,
now I know to ask all the questions.
Yeah, you're like, all right, here's what I want to know. So that's awesome.
So I've always liked it. I always watch fights. And then the tier of training I was doing, like I said, I didn't know that these gyms around here had professional athletes in them. So the coaching is going to be different. The strength and conditioning is going to be different. Those competition classes, they're very different than self-defense classes.
Right.
So, I just started training like I was an athlete. And I would go to the, fight watch parties, and I would sit and, watch the fights with other fighters, or, people that we knew that were on the cards. And I did that for years and years and years. So eventually, I'm saying all this to say that my background in modeling, my studies in brain and behavioral science, me interviewing people, me having an interest in MMA is all what took me into sports media and everything I'm doing now. So it was like, I couldn't do any of what I'm doing now if I didn't do any of these things before. So it kind of just unfolded for me. So when I decided, when I said, I'm just going to do this because I love this sport. It's the only sport I really take the time to sit down and watch.
So what's your favorite sport? So is your favorite sport to watch? Is it MMA or boxing or Muay Thai or wrestling? Out of all those, is MMA your favorite sport of all the sports to watch?
To watch, that's kind of hard. I would say between wrestling and MMA.
Oh, you like to watch wrestling matches? Wrestling. Like professional wrestling, or more like collegiate wrestling? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like when these colleges have, their meets and stuff, I like watching those. I usually love fighters that have a wrestling background. If I find out someone has a wrestling background, I'm zoned in. I'm ready to watch.
So who's your favorite MMA fighter? I don't have a favorite. There's so many good ones. People ask me, and I'm like, I'm going to list off like 50 people. If you ask me, I will list, and I'm sure I'm leaving people out. Yeah, there's so many great athletes, man, and their spirit and
there's so many different forms of martial arts, that they take, and I just appreciate the sport so much because, to me, it's the only sport that we have. Well, I don't want to say to me because this is actually true. It's the only sport that we have that enhances an animal instinct, which is for us to fight, right? We don't naturally pick up a ball as humans. Like, that's not our super strength. We're not naturally fast runners. We're not naturally swimmers. We're not tennis. Any of the sports out there that are played, it's not an animal instinct. The only animal instinctive sport we have is fighting. So whether you watch fighting or not, it brings everybody together because they live vicariously through these fighters. These fighters get to do something for a living that we have to suppress in real life. We're not allowed to do that, or we get in trouble. It's illegal to put your hands on people. So it's intriguing. It's intriguing that people just sit and they're like, oh, this fight world is this. And people put money on it and they get emotionally invested in it. So to me, I'm like, it's a beautiful thing because even though it may seem violent, it's bringing so many people together in a core survival way. All the things that we all know we're capable of fighting, right? When kids come out of the womb, we have to teach them not to hit each other. Right. It's like, it's in us. It's in all of us. So I think that's why it's such a special sport, aside from all the other ones. And when I decided to go over into the sports media side, I won't say it's been easy. I'll just say the opportunities have just kind of been there. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to question whether I should be doing this or not, because so many doors just open for me. And it's been amazing. It's been incredible. And I decided, hasn't even been a year yet. And I decided, I'm going to go ahead and step into this. I'm going to do this. I want to interview. I want to commentate. I want to be an analyst. I want to,
and you're doing all that. So how did you
started doing it?
You started doing it. That's fucking dope, man. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. And so, and that's how we met, is at one of the fights, right? Yeah. We met at one of the fights.
I was commentating the night that
we met at a fight. And so that's the thing, is like, you meet so many great people, you make so many great friendships and some bonds, and on the mat, everybody's the same. So you got lawyers and doctors and former criminals and, and every models and everybody in between. And, you know, and
yeah, people from different religions and belief systems,
yeah, belief system and genders and everything else, and none of it matters on the mat.
None of it, yeah.
You know, all you're gonna do is train and get better and make each other better. That's what it's about. Is I'm gonna make you better, you're gonna make me better, and together we're gonna make each other better, and we're gonna make the whole team better. And it's almost like a life philosophy.
Yeah,
Jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that's why I fell in love with the whole sport, because I was like, this is a metaphor. Yes. It's really a metaphor for life. It's not.
That's probably why when you were going out, hanging out and stuff, you weren't so nervous, because you're like, I fucking spar men all the time and I train. Why the fuck am I going to be afraid to go to this little party or this little thing or whatever?
Yeah.
You know, and it helped you to navigate, I'm sure, like to
no, it helped me read body language too. Yes. You know, if I'm in danger or not, or, you know, it helps in so many little ways you don't realize until you're in situations. I don't regret any of it, any part of it. So now it's like, it's been amazing, because I started in March. The first person I really started working with was Ocho. So Stephen Ocho Peterson was the first person that, you know, he brought me on his team. And that's why till this day, if he wants anything from me, he's got it.
That's
like,
awesome.
If he needs me for something, I'm like, yeah, I'm there.
And Brett, you're on the team for
his Ocho TV.
Oh, for TV.
Yeah, for his platform.
He's got a platform. Okay. And is it an online platform?
It's on YouTube.
Do you know it's a YouTube channel? What is it called?
Ocho TV.
Ocho TV.
Yep.
OCHO TV. You guys check that out. Shout out to Stephen Peterson. He's a great fighter. He's a local fighter. He's a great fighter.
He's a good guy. He cares about loyalty. He cares about honesty. He's not one of those people that you play with, right? He's very straightforward. If you're straight with him, you get a lot further. And you know, I mean, he's a cool guy. I love him, and he's very respectful of me. I'm respectful of him, and he's supportive. We support each other, you know, now, and anybody that he works with, he supports them in their endeavors. And he's all about building.
So he brought you on. So when he brought you on, were you an analyst? Were you
when he brought me on, I was just doing interviews.
Just doing interviews.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told him
fighters.
Yeah, I was interviewing fighters. And what's funny is the person that referred me to him was Antonio Perkins.
Oh.
So Antonio Perkins was my first like big supporter.
That's awesome.
Behind me.
I love Antonio. Another mulatto.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Antonio Mulatto Perkins. We love you, brother. He's getting better in the hospital. Rafael and I were talking about that yesterday on the podcast I have. Rafael we love Antonio, man. He just has a way of making everybody feel loved and making you feel important and making you feel that he cares. And he's got that amazing voice.
Yeah, too. Crazy. He's got like that Morgan Freeman type.
I know. I'm like, I cannot let him talk on speakerphone if I'm dating somebody or whatever. He's gonna steal my girl with that voice alone. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. So like, who's that?
Yeah. So him and his wife were wonderful supporters of me, and he was always an advocate for me, even when I wasn't around. So he was actively bringing my name up in meetings and suggesting me to people. So he was, he's one of those people that I'm like, you know. Grateful for.
He's a good dude,
because he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And there's a lot of people that were around me that cared about my success, and that I would talk to. Derwin Lamb was one of those people. He was a great coach, and I would talk to him all the time about, hey, what does this mean? Or he's a very informative coach. So you know, having him. Having Antonio, Ocho, you know, Kevin Holland started his podcast, wanted me to be on. So that's one of the projects that I'm on now, and it's going great. That's brought me to meet a whole slew of people.
And what's that podcast called?
Realize, Recognize.
Realize,
Recognize.
So is it
real eyes?
Like real eyes?
Real eyeballs.
Oh, not real eye. Like you realize
not like you realize.
So real eyes, recognize. I like that.
Yeah, Realize, Recognize.
And that's on YouTube as well?
Yes.
Check it out, Realize on YouTube. And then this area, like you spoke about coaches like Steven and like Derwin. I mean, this area has some really, really high level coaches that are coaching people and taking people to the highest levels of combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys are
really it's good. Amazing, and there's so many fighters that are also becoming coaches. It's been incredible. I've met so many great people. I'm like amazed and humbled at like the love I've been shown. So just from doing that. Oh, another person who was a huge supporter of me was James McSweeney.
Okay. He just opened a gym a couple years.
Another great badass coach.
COVID. Yeah, he's a great fighter too.
An amazing fighter. Yeah, he's a wonderful person. And he was one of those people putting my names in rooms, calling people in the UFC, calling bare knuckle, calling other organizations LFA, and putting my name, in the slot. Like, hey, you need to get this girl before someone else is does. He's really helped me a lot. Just because he saw I was a hard worker, and he was like, I admire my fighters have said good things about you, and you carry yourself well, and I like to see people like you win. So he did that, and because of him, I met Susan Singari, who's over Bare Knuckle News. That woman she's like the Dana White of combat media. Yeah, she's a big deal. If y'all don't know who she is,
check her out.
She's a big deal. So I have her as a resource. Dean Thomas is a mentor of mine.
Yeah, he was a great fighter too in the UFC.
Yeah, he's great. And I have, freaking Laura Sanko herself is supporting me. It's just so amazing. And it hasn't even been a year yet. Wow. You know what I mean? It hasn't even been a year, and I already have top dogs standing behind me wanting me to succeed. So
that's awesome.
It's amazing. This has been way easier than modeling, acting. Like, this whole world has just been.
That's why I love it.
It's been chill.
That's why I love it, man. It doesn't ever, and people see me, out and about or doing things, and they just feel like I'm never working, but I'm always working. I have several small businesses, and I'm always working, and even more so now, like I'm having to rebuild everything that I've worked for my adult life, and having to start over from nothing. But I do it with a smile on my face because I love the sport. I love the industry that I'm in. I love the people. I meet awesome people, and it doesn't feel like work until I have to do the work part of it, paperwork and the boring side of most people think it's like the boring side.
Yeah, right? The not so fun stuff.
The not so fun stuff with, paperwork and accounting and documents and all this stuff, but it makes it worthwhile, like meeting all the cool people. And so what are you doing now? Like you said you're doing the podcast with Kevin Holland, right? The Real Eyes Recognize podcast. Yeah. And what else are you doing?
I'm working on making a show of my own. So we're still building that. I haven't fully released.
Is it going to be a podcast, or is it going to be like a TV show?
Yeah, I think we're going to do a short segments of podcasts, but make them visual and do something fun, something on the comedic side. It's a lot of fun. I absolutely love this world, and it's different for me because some people, like me coming into it, I will say I have to prove myself, which I'm fine with. I'm cool with that. I can do that. But it's hard having to come in and defend my, where I came from. It's like, okay, you're a model. What are you doing here? What do you want? Right? Like, what do you have to say? So, I have to
just sit there and look pretty. That's all you got to do.
Prove myself. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like, this is not about me. This right now is really not about me. I feel like it's my time, but I don't feel like it's about me. I found my voice by giving other people a platform to share theirs. So that is what matters to me. I don't care about being seen anymore. I don't. I did that for over a decade as a model. I was a face for a long time. So my face being seen now that's not my goal. I think it just comes with it. Right? Because when you're in front of the camera, that's what you do.
Right.
But my whole goal is just to educate, to share love through my knowledge, share love through the person that I am, and like I said, give other people a platform to be seen for who they are, not the titles that people hold them under. And it's healing. All that stuff is healing. So I'm enjoying it. I like the space that I'm in right now. I'm a very analytical person.
And you're passionate about it, I can tell.
I'm extremely passionate about it. It's crazy.
That's what I love when we met. I love your energy, and I love how passionate about it. You weren't just like another pretty face, like going through the motions, like, oh yeah, I have to be here. They're paying me to be here. I have to do this. You're like, actually, like, you love to watch fights. You love hanging out with the fighters. You love the industry. You love the environment.
Yeah, I do.
You love jiu-jitsu.
I love talking about the fights, and I love commentating. It's funny, one time I went to LFA to do some media coverage, and I was walking in, and I feel like I looked like a reporter. Like, I had a reporter type of outfit on. I had a lantern that said media, and this group of guys was like, stopped me, and they're like, "Oh, are you a ring girl?" I was like, oh, really? You're just gonna call me a ring girl? Because I guess because I look like it. There's nothing wrong with being a ring girl
or a ring boy.
There's ring boys?
I've seen that, I think. Or maybe I just started that up in my head. I don't know.
Hey, but the way the world's going, it's possible.
I mean, I've seen I seen like Guns and Hoses event that I've coached at. They were doing a Guns and Hoses boxing event, and I know one of the female fighters, she had 2 firefighters walk her out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
that's funny.
Yeah, and I think I might have seen somewhere. Maybe I had a dream about it or whatever, but maybe I'm imagining things. But I thought I did see some ring boys somewhere on some type of combat sport. Maybe some women were fighting and they got up there.
In America today, there's probably some ring boys.
There's probably ring boys out there. You coming to the UFC? Coming to the UFC. I might be the first one.
Oh wow. Yeah, you might make some history.
Yeah, I might make some history.
But yeah, no, it offended me because I was like, man, whatever. I get it. That's probably the first thing people might think. And then I'm like, it's okay. I'll just talk. I'll start speaking, and then I'll, do my thing. And then people are like, oh, okay, she's here for something else. So
she's got a brain.
It's cool. It's funny because when I was talking to Laura and I told her, about what I'm doing, I was like, and it is kind of hard for me because not only am I African American, but I was a former model, and it's just kind of like, okay, what is she doing here? I really do feel out of place. Sometimes people treat me like I'm out of place until they hear me speak. So, she said, I know it's amazing. She was like, I'm proud of you for doing it. Keep going. Please don't ever stop. And she said, it's hard. It's a hard position to be in because people cannot fathom that you can be pretty and know what you're talking about. So she was like, you just keep doing that shit because it's going to pay off. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's paying off now.
Laura Sanko told me that, so I believe her over all you that have anything else to say.
Yes.
Because she's broken barriers herself. So it's just amazing. It's been a really great journey.
And you said you have that podcast with Kevin. Kevin's an active UFC fighter, and he's very, very good. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually became the champion. I honestly thought he was going to be the new champ at 185, and then he went to 170, and I thought he'd be the champ at 170. He's a great fighter.
Kevin is an incredible fighter. He's a natural athlete.
Yes.
He's a very smart athlete.
He knows the game too. He knows the fight game.
If he wanted to push himself even more, he could.
Yeah.
He has everything. I think he has everything that it takes to be a champion if he wants to be. I think all that is a decision. It's not because he can't do it. And I'm not saying that because I work with him. I have to be non-biased all the time.
I love a lot of fighters. I like watching a lot of fighters, and when Kevin came up on the scene, I was like, this dude's the real deal. Like he's the next champ.
He's great. Yeah, he's good. I used to love watching him fight.
He's still one of the best in the world.
He's great to watch. He's entertaining to watch. He's skillful, right? So it's not like he's just entertaining. It's
he
like
talks a lot of shit.
He talks so much shit, and
but it's funny the way he does it. It's not mean. Yeah. Like some of these guys, they're talking shit, and it's very mean. Mean spirited.
No,
when Kevin talks shit, he's playful. And
Kevin is the only person in my life I have ever met that can talk as much shit as he does, and you still like him.
You still love him. He's still
like he can literally be talking shit to
I'm
you,
surprised.
and you laugh. You laugh with him. You're like, you just insulted me, but I still want to have a beer with you.
Yeah,
like he's one of those people. So he's
I'm surprised he hasn't gotten into stand-up comedy or doing some comedy.
He probably will. He needs to be.
You should get into stand-up.
I'm not doing stand-up.
You should see. That's the thing.
But you know what?
People are terrified of it, and it's like,
fuck that.
People are terrified of standing on stage. People will go to a fucking another. I've met people that will go to another country and fight wars, right? And join the military and do all this stuff and shoot at people and get shot at, and they will not stand on stage and tell a fucking joke to a room full of strangers. And people will get into the cage and fight, or or step on a mat and roll against a 300-pound, crazy sweaty man. But you won't get on stage and try to tell and just tell jokes for 2-3 minutes.
No, that's a lot of work and that's hard. And
it is hard.
That's an art, and I'm not ready to learn it. So that's all that is. But I love comedy.
Yeah.
So that's what the show I'm working on now. That's what we're doing. It's all going to be comedy.
So to get you more in tune with comedy and comedians, I'm going to start taking you and inviting you out to some of my comedy shows that some of my friends do, and sometimes I get on stage.
Are you trying to get me to get on stage?
Yes, we're gonna start. All right, you hear it first. This is exclusive, right? Adaire's gonna start doing comedy. We'll write material. You're not gonna go in blindly.
I have somebody writing skits for me.
Oh shit!
I'm about to start doing online.
To me,
these are online. These are recorded.
Okay,
we can edit these.
You're still gonna do those, but you're also gonna get on stage. You're gonna grab the mic and you be like, is this thing on? And then you're going to just go into your jokes and just fucking kill. Oh my God. And that's going to be, or you bomb and it's still okay.
I'm not doing
and did you die? Right? It's like jujitsu.
Yeah.
You get
part of my ego died.
Yes. Kill the ego. Kill the ego. Because you already know about killing the body, right? And being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Now you're going to kill the ego. You need some water?
No, I'm good. I almost died just now, just thinking about it.
Thinking of comedy. Actually, I think it was my ninth. I think it was my 9th time getting on stage, and I'm still doing open mics. I'm an open micer. I'm not getting paid, but there's a lot of professional comics that go to open mics, and when they bomb so hard, and there's so much pressure on them because. For me, if I fail, I don't do this for a living anyways. I don't give a fuck. It's just fun. It's like an experiment. I'm having a blast. But for them, this is how they feed their families. This is how they pay their bills. So there's a lot of stress. You see them mess up or something. They're on stage with their notes. They're just working these jokes out. It's training. Like Joe Rogan says, like doing comedy, you have to get on stage and do reps and get better.
You know what? I don't know. I might fall into that. That's one thing that people say about me when they meet me. They're like, I had no idea how funny you were. That's usually what I get. And I'm sure anybody watching this can be like, you're not even funny on this interview. So this is not a good example. But if someone's hanging out with me, they're like, I had no idea. I make a ton of fucking faces that I shouldn't be making. My body does a lot of weird things. I'm long and lanky.
You sound like a comedian to me.
Man,
you should do it. My 9th time on stage, I almost puked. And I've never almost
You're
puked.
Not selling this for me.
I never almost puked getting in the cage. I never almost puked getting on the mat. But I almost puked. My 9th time, I'm like, and I already done it so many times before, and I'm just like, I almost went. But I had a great set. I had a great set after that. It was probably my best set ever. After that, I'll almost puke. I had a great set after that.
You're not selling this.
No, you got to do it. You got to. Hey, think about you're a mind expert, a behavioral expert. Imagine how much more into the mind and this human psyche you can get into by because all you're doing is talking, and then you're so nervous, and you know
what? I never thought about that.
That's why I started doing it. It's a mind thing.
When I train people, when I do the professional development training, I actually use a lot of nonverbal communication to talk to people. So there's a couple of things that I'll do to show people how this works. And I'm not going to give away my tricks, but it's similar to a same type of approach that a magician uses, like when they're reading the audience. So I'll put my body a certain way, and I'll tell people to think of 2 shapes, blah blah blah, and I'm like, one has to go inside the other, blah blah blah, and then I make them draw what it is, and then I have them show me all at one time, and then I change the slide. And I'm like, is this what you had? And everybody has the same thing. And they're like, oh, how did she do that? And then I explained nonverbal communication and how much we communicate without using words, and that I told them subconsciously to do that. I narrowed down their options. I told them 2, simple shapes, blah, blah, blah. And so what happened is their mind went down the process of elimination, and they had no choice but to choose those 2 shapes. And then they choose them in that exact order. So it always blows people's mind. But I never thought about that, using that in comedy.
Comedy, you learn how people's minds work. You learn how your own mind works. And you're like, why am I freaking out? All I'm doing is I'm going to get on stage for 2 or 3 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, and then it's over. And nobody's punching me. Nobody's kicking me. And you just go up there and you just talk shit.
Yeah.
But
you made me almost choke. That's terrible. Guys, I'm not a smoker. Okay. I was just getting over a cold recently this past week. So I'm sorry. I know that sounds terrible.
But yeah, we should, if you want to do it, we should do it. My buddy from,
I'll go.
I interviewed my buddy earlier this week, James Geraldson. I think it was episode number 2 or 3. I think episode 3. He's from Tiger King, but he wanted to spin off into doing stand-up, and he's the one who talked me into going on stage. And he's like, you got to do it. I just started, and he's like, I'm getting my feet wet, and I'm trying to get better at it. And the only way to get better at it is to get on stage and do those open mics. And so I'm like, fine. So he sold me on the idea. I fucking stay up all night with a friend of mine, and we write these jokes out. I mean, we literally didn't sleep. And then so the day comes, right? So we stay up all night writing jokes, because that, later that night is going to be the show, right? The open mic. And so I get there, they, put my name down. All right, you're going to come up soon. He's not even fucking there. He didn't even show up. This motherfucker, man. He didn't even show up. And the only people that show up were friends of mine that were like, all they wanted to do was go there to fucking heckle the fuck out of me. That's it. They're like, we just want to go just to heckle you when you get up there. And that's what it was. It was just me get on stage and them just fucking shitting all over me.
Wow.
And heckling
again,
me.
You're not showing it at all.
So invite your friends. Hey, but it's not that bad. And you can talk shit back to them, right? You're holding the mic. And
I'm a pretty good shit talker. I don't know. I'll go, but I don't know if I'll get up on stage. We'll see. We'll see how it works.
You just kind of read the room, feel the vibe.
You might be the catalyst of me.
Next thing you know, you got your fucking Netflix special, coming comedy. You're this big fucking jokester. Yeah. Man. Doing movies with Kevin Hart.
I know, this is how I know I'm funny, is when other funny people tell me I'm funny.
There you go.
When funny people laugh at my stuff, I'm like, oh, I am funny. When Dean Thomas told me I was funny, I was like, yeah. Like, cause he's hilarious, but he's like dry hilarious. Like, he'll make you feel stupid hilarious. So he gets my jokes. That's nice. Kevin laughs at me,
Does he laugh at you, or does he laugh at your jokes?
He laughs at my jokes. I didn't really think about that real quick.
Kevin laughs.
He might laugh at me too. I don't know. I laugh at him all the time.
But Kevin's a big jokester too. He likes to have fun, even in training. I've trained with him a few times, and he's a great training partner. He's a funny guy. But I mean, he lightens the mood and lightens the room, and then he's just so talented. He's just having fun with it.
Yeah, I think I'll just keep my comedy where it is right now.
Yeah, you're already getting cold.
You over here? Hell yeah! You're over here like hyping me up and shit. You're gonna have me walking around with a little too much dip on my chip.
Yes.
Thinking I'm
Adaire, let's go! Tell them fucking jokes. And it's like crickets.
Coach Junior's in my corner.
Yes. I'll laugh. I mean, I'll be like the laugh track for you. I'll just be laughing.
Count.
Is that going to count?
No,
but you won't know that I'm
genuine laughter.
You won't know that I'm fake laughing.
No,
I'm pretty good at fake laughing.
I don't need no.
I'm probably the best.
I don't need no fake ass friend.
Okay, okay, fine. I'm gonna be so serious.
I need to earn a real laugh.
Yes, you will get real laughs.
Did you watch my series where I was trying to crack open the coconut?
No.
You didn't see that?
No, I'm gonna see it.
That's part of my comedy series.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Send it to me and I'll watch it. But see, that's different.
How are you gonna tell me to do? How are you going to tell me to do comedy when you haven't even seen any of my
Because that's
comedic
different.
work?
Stand-up is different than the skits. I feel like skits are easier to do, in my opinion. A skit is easier.
Well, that wasn't skit. That was live.
Oh, was it live?
Real. Yeah, there was no.
But I feel like if
there
you're
was
telling,
no writing
if you're
down.
writing jokes and telling them, that's what makes it hard.
Can't believe you don't support me. This is
I
crazy.
do support you.
I don't even know why you want me on your show.
I
You didn't
just-
even see my work.
I'm gonna see it.
This guy.
I'm gonna see your. I'm gonna spend the rest of the day just looking at your stuff, looking at your comedy. And so you got the podcast with Kevin.
Yes.
You're working on your new show. Anything else you're working on?
I still do commentating, so I have a couple commentating gigs coming up with Peak Fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and then after I got a lot of other stuff that's coming up, but I can't say because it's not like signed and dotted and dated and stuff. So, but all I can say is keep watching.
Yes,
I'm working. You will see the fruits of my labor.
And as always, we're gonna put all of our guest information, all of Adaire's information, in the description on the YouTube channel, on our social media, so you guys can follow her, get in touch with her if you want her to, if you want to work with her,
host something, be on my show,
yes,
whatever you want, or just say hi. I'm friendly. I'm very friendly.
She's very friendly, guys. She has
nice.
Yeah, she's really nice.
You're just agreeing with me. I don't even think you mean it anymore.
She's really nice.
This is fake, y'all.
I feel bad because I didn't watch your coconut thing.
It's okay. It's okay. You watch
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. Should I do a breakdown on it?
Yeah, if you want.
A fight breakdown?
Yeah. I'm trying to crack open a coconut with a Thai elbow.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we're losing our elbows.
That's gangster.
Well,
I've never even tried that before. I don't want to break my elbow.
Yeah, you gotta see it.
I'm gonna see it.
It was real. This shit hurt.
And I'm gonna post that link on the YouTube channel so everyone else can see it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all gotta follow those. So what I do with those is I interview. I'll have like random people come on. It could be anybody. It could be a fighter, coach, manager, a chiropractor, anybody, a designer. And then all we do is we just do fun things that they like to do. So I have a couple more coming up. I'm supposed to be doing one with Chaz Skelly. A lot of people don't know that he's also into comedy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the interview that we'll do will be a very dry.
And Chaz, did he retire from MMA?
I know he's retired from. I think he is. I think he's retired from
MMA. I haven't seen him fight in a while, but when he was fighting, he's a great fighter.
Yeah, he was actually one of my brother's coaches when he was wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, all the way back.
Yeah, I've trained with Chaz and Chaz Skelly, man. He's a good fighter, man. Had some great fights in the UFC, some of those Spartan kicks.
Oh yeah.
Boosh!
Yeah, he walked around like he was inflated. His shoulders.
Yeah, he just walks like that. He walks like that, but he's really, really good too.
He is very good.
He walks like that, and he's not a very big guy.
No,
I mean he's bigger than me, but who's not? But he's not a very big guy, and but he walks around like you said, like he's swole, right? Like here, and then
it's just his shoulders. It's
it's
his chest and shoulder, like
it's
the
his
way
build.
his body. Yeah,
it's his build. Yeah. And then when he gets a hold of you, this motherfucker's for real. Mm-hmm. He's good. Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, there's so much talent out here coming.
So much, it's crazy, and you don't ever know. Like people are so humble for the most part. You got every now and then you got people that, again, have too much dip on their chip, and they're walking around with a certain type of personality, and they stand out, like a sore thumb. But for the most part, a lot of people are really, really like down to earth, and like you just don't know who you're sitting next to and talking to at these fights. So, and then they tell you their name, and you're like, oh shit. I remember you. Yeah. I remember watching you on TV, and so it's cool. It's fun.
So who are some of your? So I know there's too many to name, but who are some active fighters that you like right now? Do you like watching some of the women fighting?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like Amanda Nunes, of course. And
yeah, she's awesome. Thug Rose is one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's a living legend.
I love her story. She also used to do some modeling. Mm-hmm.
And she cut her hair. Would you ever do that? Cut your hair bald?
If I was in a position like she was, I probably would. Because she was so thug about it. She was like, this isn't a fucking beauty pageant. Y'all, I'm fighting.
Yeah, she's a warrior.
So like, what do I need my hair for? I don't care what y'all have to say. She's still pretty without hair. That's the crazy part. But yeah, she's such a sweet person. It's like, I can't believe that she does so much damage. She's small. She's, quiet, and she's just an animal. And I love her mentality. I love the way she fights. So I've always
she has some of the best fights.
I remember watching her on The Ultimate Fighter, and I fell in love with her then. I was like, man, this girl is badass.
She's a badass, man. Thug Rose, man. She's got a big following. She's a great fighter. She has all her fights are always exciting. I don't think I've ever, I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing a boring Thug Rose fight ever.
Yeah. She has a poker face.
Yeah.
Like you can't, she's one of those people that it's hard to see if she's affected
and she's
by something you're doing.
And she rises to the occasion. She's beaten people that people wrote her off.
Oh yeah.
And like, oh, she ain't gonna beat this person or that person. And she's fucking wrecked people that that supposedly she wasn't supposed to beat. Yeah. And she beat them. And she beat him, so there was some great fights. I love watching her fight. There's so many fighters. I think Jose Aldo just retired. Which is, he had a great run, a 10-year run of being undefeated. But there's so many legends now that are retiring, and I have to be honest, I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the newer up and coming guys.
Oh, there's so many people coming up. I know that Bo Nichols guy. He's a big talk
wrestler.
Yeah, wrestler, and again, wrestling background.
Yeah, he's a beast.
I love watching wrestlers. People were pissed because he came in and just like
dominating,
did that shit, and I was like, well, he's a wrestler, guy. It's like, what do you expect? If you understood the different, forms of martial arts, you would understand like how powerful wrestling is and how effective it is.
What's this on your arm? I've been meaning to ask you, and I keep forgetting.
Oh, this is a tattoo. No, I'm just kidding. It says Talitha Kume. It means I'll give you a second to soak that in.
This is a tattoo. Okay.
This is ink.
Man, I can't wait till she's on stage. I'm gonna
boo
that woman.
No, it means it's Talitha Kume. It means damsel arise. So it's a story in the Bible of a girl that was on her deathbed. She was dying, and her parents came out in the street and yelling, screaming for Jesus, asking him to come and heal her. And that's what he told her. When he was, praying over her, he said Talitha Kume, which is get up, young woman, or damsel arise. And then she did, and she thanked him. And they're thanking him. Oh, thank you, Jesus! Like for oh, you're amazing. You're this.
I remember reading
and
this
story. He said it wasn't me. You did it because of the power in yourself. You rose because you could. So I've always loved that story. Of choosing to heal yourself and be your own hero, right? And rising even when you don't feel like it, even when you're on your deathbed. So I've always wanted to get this, and I just got it last year.
Oh, did you? So, yeah, I saw it, and it was in cursive, and I was like, I can't understand what it says, and I'm like, that's what I wanted to ask.
It's an Aramaic language. I have it written out like in English, so it's not in Aramaic, but it's based in.
So did you watch Passion of the Christ?
A long time ago.
Yeah, because I know they spoke Aramaic the whole movie. I think the whole movie they spoke Aramaic. Yeah, of course I'm reading.
That's a beautiful language. Yeah, like looking at it, it just looks like art. Written down. It's a gorgeous. Hebrew is a beautiful language. It's so meaningful and deep. So yeah, that's what it means. It's a biblical story.
That's dope. I love it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about or bring up before we go?
No. It's been a long time. What shit? It's almost been 2 hours. Jeez. Sorry, guys.
That's how we do it.
No, I don't. No, I'm surprised I even talked that long.
Yeah.
Actually, you talked a lot too. So.
Oh shit! Damn. I can't wait till this comedy. Okay. I can't wait till this comedy goes down. Man, she talked a big game, but we're gonna see.
It's a conversation. We're supposed to be talking to each other on the couch. That's how it's supposed to go.
That's how it works. So that's what we've been doing. And then it's going to be a conversation on that comedy stage. You might see her at Hyena's Comedy in Dallas. You might see her at TK's Comedy in Addison. You might see her at Wool Call Bar and Deep Ellum doing comedy, Dallas Comedy Club. I don't know. We're coming soon. We're going to
keep marketing me already.
We're going to be bringing the fucking jokes. I'll make an announcement. Kevin's funny. Maybe Kevin will come do some comedy. Kevin Holland. Comedy. Yeah, he should. If not,
he should have his own comedy show.
Yeah,
like just even if he had a series, his own reality show.
Ask him to write you a couple jokes. 2 or 3 jokes that knock jokes or.
I don't know if he could. He's so, but not in an offense.
No.
He's so naturally funny.
He's naturally funny, but I'm just saying.
It just rolls off the tongue.
So that's the thing about jokes is like when you start doing comedy.
Jokes,
no, a friend of mine tried to write mine, and then my problem was I couldn't remember them. I'm like, I'm not going to remember this shit, and I'm going to read it wrong and say the joke backwards. So for me, it's easier to do it if I write it out, and if I say it, because then it's easier for me to remember. Because a lot of it is just stuff that either it's funny to me or something that I've experienced, and then I just try to make it funny.
Yeah, I've been through a lot, so maybe the dark stories of things that I've experienced, I could find a way to make that shit funny, even though it's probably going to offend somebody.
Somebody's always going to be offended, especially right now.
But that's why it's comedy. It's not comedy unless you're offending somebody.
Right now, like it used to be like rock and roll is the devil, right? And then it was rap and hip hop was the devil. And then actors, right? The Me Too movement and stuff, a lot of the actors, producers, the men were the devil, right? So now it's comedy's the devil. Now with your jokes, like people are people are saying like they're
trying to cancel everybody.
Cancel a lot of the comedians, and comedians are the outlaws now. It used to be rappers. It used to be
you go back like 10 years and listen to some old
Richard Pryor.
Boy, they used to say some shit.
Yeah,
people.
Dave Chappelle.
Sit up straight for it.
Yeah, they get it. I mean, Dave Chappelle just got in trouble recently.
Yeah,
and so like you got to be careful what you say. But
see, that's why I just stick to my series.
Yeah, but
not even get on stage and
offend anyone.
So I don't get canceled.
Everybody's gonna get offended. I offend everybody equally. I believe in being equally offensive to everyone, so that way nobody feels left out.
Yeah, that's nice.
so you could start there. Just start offending everybody right off the bat.
No.
Yeah. Just walk in there and be like, listen, just all right. Have you? No, I'm not going to say it. I was going to start saying some shit.
Yeah,
be like, and 5-6 episodes and Coach is canceled. And, there's that cancel culture, man. And that's hard to navigate that.
People
and
are
still be
sensitive
funny.
as hell.
We're sensitive as hell.
I'll be posting stuff online, and some of the comments that I get under my stuff is like, how the fuck did you get that based off of? Especially if something I post goes viral, right? That's the worst. And people don't even, the bandwidth of people online is incredible to me. It's like y'all didn't take the time to read the captions. You didn't click on the link. You didn't do anything, right, to try and figure out, okay, why did this person post this? You just, I swear to God, people literally go to the worst possible scenario ever. And it's offensive. Oh my God, everybody.
Yeah, everything's taken out of context. And they're doing sound bites. You could take a sound bite or take anything out of context. And we've seen that, especially with the presidential campaigns. They take these things out of context and then they put, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. But then when you actually click on it and you read everything like you're saying, you actually learn about it. You're like, oh, they didn't fucking say that at all. Like, that's not what they meant at all. Like, it's completely taken out of context.
Yeah, it's too much for me.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I don't care what people think, because I'm pretty sure
and that's what's going to make you such a
more in my career is like people's going to get a sound bite of me saying something. I'm sure there's something I said in this interview that will be a sound bite and be like, oh, this bitch. Look this. Oh my God.
Especially with your comedy and talking about dark stuff on stage, and some people might feel some type of way. And so,
man, you gotta laugh. Yeah. Not everything's a joke, but life is not. Life's not. You can't take it too seriously. you know, I've been through a lot of stuff.
You'd be surprised how many fighters that I found doing stand-up. I'm like,
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, I'm out there and I'm like, bro, I don't know you did stand-up. And they, you know what I'm saying? And some of them have been doing it longer than I have. I think I've only gone on stage maybe like 11 times total.
Wow.
In a year. A little over a year. But I mean, it's not enough. I should be doing like 11 times in a month, really, or more.
Really?
Like you got to get your reps in. You got to get you should be doing like at 1 or 2, 3 open mics.
Appealing at all.
You know, that's how you get better. You figure out what jokes work, what jokes don't work. You know, you whatever's good, you keep it. Whatever sucks, you put a line through it, and you just keep going.
Okay. Well, I have to go. We have to go take some fighters with us. Go to these comedy shows so I can see what this is about.
Joe Rogan has been getting so many fighters. You see some of these UFC, like Brendan Schwab and all these guys. He's convinced them to go from MMA to comedy, and then he's also convincing a lot of his comedy buddies to get into jiu-jitsu and things like that to get in shape. So it's like that crossover. So it's fucking dope, man.
Yeah.
And that's going to open up a whole new world for you too, meeting new people, meeting comedians. I've got some upcoming interviews to do with some that I'm going to be doing some comedians too. So that's going to be fun to interview comics.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Well, if they want to do any skits, let me know.
Yeah. We're going to collaborate. You heard it here first. We're collaborating.
Hard smile.
I don't even know if that's a smile. Somebody was saying, I would keep doing it because somebody was like, why the fuck are you always showing your teeth? I'm like, you know, sometimes fighters just like, you know, it's like, we just something we do. We always do the stupid fucking fist pose.
Yeah.
You know, whenever we take photos.
It is. When I'm standing next to a fighter and everyone's holding up their fists, I feel stupid because I'm not.
You're like,
sometimes I will, but
like
I'm
this?
like, where do I hold it? Do I I just feel wrong doing. I know how to do it. I just feel wrong doing it because it doesn't really feel like me. So
yeah, because I mean, sometimes you're just like, I'll do that, or like, I love you, or rock.
I'm gonna start doing this.
The heart.
I'm gonna start
That's
doing
fucking dope, man.
Is it dope?
That is dope. I like that. That's cool.
I think I might start doing it.
Yeah, mine doesn't look as much like a heart as you. My fingers are fucked up.
That's because you're a fucked up person.
Motherfucker can't even make a heart. That's how black his soul is. He's got a dark soul. He can't even make a heart.
Your hands won't even agree with you.
Your hands won't even do it.
You can't even lie to yourself.
Don't even lie. I can do this. I can do prayer. I can do this.
Yeah, do prayer, and maybe that'll.
That's what I need.
Maybe that'll bring your hands
to make a heart. I can make a heart. Look, but it looks better this way. But I can do one. Wait, I can do it.
All right, we'll practice this.
We'll practice. I'll practice our heart signs. I like doing rock all the time, rock and roll. I love the story behind it, and I don't know if you know. Like a lot of people think it's like demonic or something like that.
What, the devil horns?
It's not really devil horns. But have you seen this one?
No, I know.
The guys that do this. I learned that over the summer. Was it this last summer or the summer before? Somebody's like, they started doing this.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I started doing it. A friend of mine, she's like, I think some rapper was doing it, and so it's
I've seen people do it. I just don't know.
I just know what it means. Okay, so where this came from, there's a musician named Ronnie James Dio. He used to be one of the singers of Black Sabbath, and I might have talked about this on a podcast before, or I might have just talked about it just with a friend. I don't know. My sometimes my days blend in together, just always doing shit. So he was born in Italy, but when Ozzy Osbourne left Black Sabbath, he became the lead singer for Black Sabbath, and then Ozzy came back. But then Ronnie James Dio, he has his own band and everything. He was born in Italy, and whenever him and his grandma, when he was a little boy, would pass a church, she would do this, boom, and keep walking. And he asked her, and he said, "Grandma, why do you do that when you pass a church and you do the horns?" And this was way back in the day. This didn't exist before in rock and roll or in music at all until his grandma showed him. And so she said, it's because when you pass a church, there's evil demons around or evil spirits, and you do this and you pass a church and it keeps the evil spirits away. So it was actually a Christian thing. And so he started playing like shows.
So it's like gang signs for the spiritual world?
Pretty much. Yeah, gang signs for the spiritual world. Like, get away, demons, I'm passing the church. But so he started doing that when he started playing shows, right? And then he got popular and then he was doing rock shows, and he's fucking boom.
Yeah.
And then everybody started doing it. This
Dude,
is
I had
pre-internet.
no idea. I've done that. at rock concerts. Had no idea where I
Get
came
away,
from.
evil spirits, stay away. Right? Isn't that dope?
That is cool.
Yeah, that's a Christian thing. Boom, boom. People take Christian things and they change them. You know, like the rainbow.
That happens over
That
time.
happened with the rainbow too. You know, that was something for God and humanity, and then they changed it to something else. They changed the fucking day of worship. It was the 7th day of the week, which is Saturday. They changed it to the 1st day of the week, which is Sunday. And so a lot of stuff gets changed over the years. And but yeah,
that's what religion does.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't change this to mean devil shit, because I'm not down with that. But I am down with rock and roll.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
We love us some Jesus.
Yes, we need him.
Yeah.
Well, yes, you got your biblical tattoo. I got my little biblical. I got a little cross and a little biblical thing here. But oh wow, we need to get going. We even fucking did a.
Sorry, guys.
Oh
if
shit!
anybody has this much time in their lives, thank you for watching.
We don't even have this much time.
No, we don't. I don't know how many fucking.
I had so much work to do. I got so much shit to do. I'm just like, the way I justify it is like, I'll just work all night. I'll just get up and work in the morning. I'll work all weekend.
Yeah, see, I don't like doing that. I like going to bed early.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from staying up working. I'm flipping it. New year, new you, 2023. Wake up early, right?
Yeah.
Wake up early and get it done.
Waking up early.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna start. I know you're a morning person, so when you text me early, I'm just like
that to me wasn't even that early.
No, that was early
like
for me.
5.
Yeah, no.
When did I text you?
I usually go to bed at 5.
8
No, I'm just
something, 9.
kidding.
It was not that.
It was like 8 something, I think.
Okay, yeah. Everybody's awake.
Yeah. But but you're gonna see me starting to go to bed early. I'm speaking it into existence. Going to bed early, waking up early, getting my work done. Because for years I've always, the house is quiet, everything's quiet, and then I get my work done at night. And but I don't want to do that anymore. But yeah, we got a lot of shit to do. So make sure you check out Adaire. Follow her on social media. Please. Contact her for gigs or mashups or her skits or anything else.
Or just to say hi.
Or just to say hi. Ooh,
just to talk.
Let me see if my remote works. It's probably not going to work. Oh, namaste. Namaste. Do you yoga? Yeah. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Not actively, but yeah.
Not actively?
Yeah. Not all the time.
It's not even working.